Hey, good morning. I wanted to pop on here and talk a little bit about prayer. I have had a lot of questions recently about how to grow in our prayer life, anything that might have inspired me, and I love it. Everybody's asking about prayer, everybody's trying to grow in prayer, and that's because it's what the Spirit is doing. He's inviting us all into deeper intimacy with Jesus, and that is so exciting because in that place of intimacy with Jesus, we are also strong. We are all bold. We are all built up in that joy strength that comes from hanging out with the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And it's what he's doing in this hour, and we have to grow in prayer. So I wanted to pop on. I just wanted to give a little nugget about prayer today. I was able to take a walk this morning before work, which was so exciting because it was a sunshiny day. And I was so excited to get out there in the sunshine. I put on shorts even though it was a little cold because I knew I needed to soak up some sun. I need some vitamin D in my life and I need it desperately. And I was walking and enjoying that sunlight. And the Lord said, you know what? This is a lot like prayer. People get in their minds that prayer is boring or a religious obligation, and it is when we start. I mean, even the apostles who would go on to lead lifestyles dedicated solely to prayer, they would start falling asleep in their Garden of Gethsemane. I mean, it's something that we grow into. But prayer, as we do it, it becomes such a place of joy more and more as we engage in the discipline of prayer. And the Lord was showing me how it's a lot like, for us coming out of winter, we need the sunlight. Our skin needs the vitamin D. We feel that warmth on our skin when we get in the sunlight. It's like nothing else. I mean, you can't get that from fluorescent light. You can't get that from a lamp. No, like you would never choose, to just give up the sun because, hey, you got a lamp inside. No, the sun does something totally more powerful. When we sit in the sunlight, it's, you feel the warmth on your skin. You literally feel the nutrition, your body just soaking up what it needs. We need prayer and we need to cultivate intimacy with Jesus in the same way, and if not more so. And I'm going to give just a couple scriptures to that end. Luke 1:78, because of the tender mercy of our God, he has sent the sunrise from on high to visit us, to shine upon those who sit in darkness and the shadow of death, and to guide their feet into the path of peace. Just as there is a sunrise every morning, there is every morning Jesus rises over us. And there is no replacement for the face of Jesus. I mean, I know a lot of people who have their whole life, they consider spending time with Jesus listening to a sermon. And listening to a sermon is good and it can be helpful and it can strengthen you. But it would be like choosing a lamplight to actually spending time in front of the face of Jesus. When you're given the option of the radiance of the sun or a lamp, you always would just naturally choose the sun, right? He is the sunrise from on high that causes those who sit in darkness and under the shadow of death to rise up. And so every morning, it's like I'll sometimes wake up early just to watch the sunrise and just imagine him dawning in my heart. There's something so beautiful about a sunrise, so beautiful about a sunset. It literally nourishes me. There have been times I've been like, Lord, I need more natural beauty in my life. I need to see more sunrises and sunsets. This hustle bustle of the world, this being busy and every day dawning and ending with so much busyness. I need a break. I need to see more sunrises and sunsets because we're nourished by beauty. In the same way with prayer, we become like David in Psalm 27. We say, Lord, I need to gaze at your beauty. I need it for myself. He wants a relationship with us, but he doesn't just call us to prayer for his sake. He calls us to prayer for our sake. Because in the hustle and in the bustle, we need the beauty of Jesus that we get from beholding him by seeking his face. It nourishes us. It causes us to absorb the nutrients. He's called the bread of life. He's literally our daily nutrition. And we get it in the countenance of his face. We get it by seeking him in intimacy alone. David would go on to do more than any other king in history, in the biblical history. He would be so successful. He would be so rich. He had so much that he accomplished in his lifetime, but he was also the one who would prioritize gazing upon the beauty of the Lord like no one else. Because there's this thing about cultivating intimacy with God that causes us to be very purposeful, bold, and successful in our battle and in our purpose with the Lord. Everything flows out of being a people that pursue intimacy with Jesus, that talk with him face to face. Moses went up on that mountain and talked with the Lord face to face, and he came down radiant. Because when we get close to the face of God, we get radiant. Just the way, I have friends, they'll be gone to their beach house over the weekend, and I know it when they get back and I see their face because they've been hanging out in the sunlight. And when we become a people that love prayer, when we begin hanging out in the sunlight, it'll be seen on our faces. It'll become obvious immediately that what we've been hanging out around. So that's why we're praying. That's why we want to cultivate prayer, because we need to hang around the face of God. Listening to preachers, good. Reading the word, good. All of those things build us up. But scripture is clear. Joy strength is found in the house of prayer. Isaiah 57. Jesus would cleanse the temple with that. He was pushing over all the tables and he said, no, my house is supposed to be a house of prayer. And he was referencing Isaiah 57, I believe, where it says, I will make them joyful in my house of prayer. When we engage in intimacy, when we engage in talking with God, then we become joyful, and that joy becomes strength. In the same way, I'm joyful after a beach day. I feel refreshed. I feel renewed. My skin feels good. You can take that too far. So don't take the allegory too far, or whatever that is. But there is something so powerful about prioritizing just seeing the beauty of Jesus. It's not a small thing. It's a huge thing that we have to cultivate. Maybe first it feels uncomfortable or unnatural, but the more we do it, the more addicted we'll be to hanging out with the face of Jesus. He wants to talk with us face to face the way he talked with Moses. I'm just going to share a couple of scriptures here about how the sunlight, the Bible is so clear, the sunlight that is seen in the face of Jesus. Revelation 1:16, in his right hand he held the 7 stars, and out of his mouth came a sharp two-edged sword, and his face was like the sun shining in all of its strength. His face, when we see the face of Jesus, we see the sun shining in all of its strength. We have to prioritize looking at the face of Jesus above all things. 2 Corinthians 4:6, for God, who said light will shine out of darkness, is the one who has shown in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Christ. The glory of God is found in the face of Christ. If we want to experience the glory of God, you don't have to go to certain services. You don't have to pursue any other thing but the face of Jesus. You find the face of Jesus, you'll find the glory of God. You want to shine with the glory of God, you've got to pursue the face of Jesus. Matthew 17:2, Jesus was transfigured before them on that mountain, the mountain of transfiguration, and his face shone like the sun, and his garments became as white as light. Are we seeing the pattern of the face of Jesus? He was shining like the sun. And I'll never forget Peter's and all the disciples' response to the transfiguration. They said, hey, let's build a tent. Let's just live up here. Forget about all those people. This is a mountaintop experience. You're shining like the sun, and we just want to live in it. We just want to camp out here in your glory. And he said, let's build a tent right here. And God says, no. Listen to my son. Just listen to him. You don't have to camp out on the top of this mountain to get the beauty of seeing Jesus. Just listen to him, which I love. David did the same thing in Psalm 27. He said, Though an army rise against me, though my mother or father forsake me, all I want is to dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And that's what's happened in my life. The more I've cultivated a lifestyle of prayer, the more nothing else really matters outside of prayer. I want to live with God. Like what is my ambition? What do I want to grow into? What's my next stepping stone in my career ladder? No, I just want to cultivate a lifestyle of prayer. I just want to live with God, which is the ultimate reality of Revelation. It's the hunger that he's building in all of us. I want to dwell where God's glory is. That's the birthright of the saints. And that's what happened when Peter saw Jesus transfigured, when his face was shining like the sun. He said, this is what I was made for. I was made to live in the face of your glory. Let's just build a tent and forget about all this other stuff. Let's live here in your glory, in your mountain, in front of the face of God. Matthew 17:2, he was transfigured before him. Okay, I just read that. Habakkuk 3:4, his radiance is like the sunlight, and he has rays flashing from his hand, and there is the hiding of his power. His radiance is like the sunlight. So today, I just want to encourage you with this little nugget. Go after the sunlight. Get in front of the face of God. Soak up everything that you need. Behold his beauty and let it wreck all of your other priorities, because this is the lifestyle of prayer. It's the lifestyle of eternity. He's calling us not to just live a boring life, but to live a life transfixed in the glory that's shining out of his face. Be encouraged. Love you. Bye.